Well, I just seen the trailer for the new Star Wars Episode 9, and really, I watched it once, and then, I mean, the big thing is Rey with this red lightsaber, like how she turned to the Sith. So, she had the chance in Episode 8 to, Kylo Ren invited her to join the Sith, or join him. He said to do, let's do away with the part what's been in the past, and she resisted. But now it's from the trailer. At least it looks like somehow she's turned to some sort of dark side. Maybe not necessarily the Sith, maybe this is how the Emperor is involved. And, it's all quite interesting. A lot of that trailer is what's gone on in the past with, so it's like this is sort of saying that this movie is gonna bring everything to a ending from what began with the original trilogy, the prequels, and the current two movies. And I heard that originally Part 9 was going to be 2 parts, possibly. Like the old Harry Potter split their movie into 2 parts. But obviously, I don't know. It looks like it's just going to be 1 part. But it looks quite interesting, I guess. I'm not that excited about it, but I'll probably watch the trailer again. I'm in the middle of nowhere, so I've got a long way home. Well, I'm not even home. I'm not, where I'm staying. Really, I've got to remember to buy some biscuits, some digestive biscuits, and some, macaroni meals, cheese. So, maybe that's what the trailer is, really. It's sort of biscuits and macaroni. But, and then I guess I haven't watched any trailer reactions, which maybe I should, because I'm just out in the middle of the woods talking a load of sloblobs, as they say. But we'll see. This new movie had better, it's got to be really good to appease the fans, because after Episode 8, people are so, pretty miffed by Episode 8. Especially what they did with Luke Skywalker's character, But, it's always with this new Disney Star Wars about destroying the heroes of the past, doing away with what was established. It's very communist what Disney's been doing, but and Star Wars is just in such, because obviously my channel is about collecting the action figures and all that sort of stuff. So, like with that, the figures are, they've just been hanging in the toy shops, not selling at all. And this summer, in the UK, there's been a bonanza of bargains. You've just been able to go to the Entertainer, TK Maxx, and just pick up stuff that's so cheap. And, And you still can find stuff, like I picked up a figure from Rogue One yesterday for £2. So, but I mean, I think when you find stuff that's original trilogy, that's still like Black Series quality stuff. That's like, you know, harkens back to the mid '80s. That sort of the good time for Star Wars, you know. Then that sells. And I think Hasbro are realising that, and that's why they're now saying they're not going to do the 3.75 figures. I mean the 3.75 5POA figures now. They're just going to concentrate on the vintage collection, because obviously they know where they can make money, and they've probably going to have to admit that a lot of who they sell to, or a fair chunk of who they sell to, is adults. Because, you know, you hear like people going into the entertainer, it's like adults going to the store to buy up all the vintage collection figures, and obviously a lot of people just do that and flog them on eBay. But others just, you know, little kids aren't really, you know, they're more into Ben 10 or Transformers or whatever, you know, Power Rangers. But then when we get back to the trailer, because I've just started waffling about this and that, you know, it's, so if Rey's turned to the dark side, not necessarily the Sith or stuff like that, maybe that's Palpatine's influence, you know, then what does that mean about Kylo Ren? Does he confront her now? Do they join forces, or, you know, or does he turn to the light side again? It's all, you know, and then how are they going to all resolve all of these questions in one movie? You know, I mean, if they were going to have her turn to the dark side, they should have done it in episode 2 when she with Kylo Ren had defeated Snoke. That would have made sense. Because I mean, if you look at her background, she was her parents sold her for drink, and she had a really hard, you know, life on Jakku, you know. So if someone has a life like that, rather than, you know, where Ben Solo had it the complete opposite, he would have had privilege, he would have been spoiled rotten, he would have had anything he wanted, and then he just, for, I don't know, being a brat, turned to the dark side. But I mean, you know, there's a lot of questions this film is going to have to address in 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I mean, how are they going to do that? I mean, you've got the resistance, which is, unless the cavalry arrives, so to speak, and a massive resistance force, with ex-rebel force arrives to back up what was left of the resistance after episode 8, you know. I mean, the First Order has overwhelming forces, and with Kylo Ren in charge of that now, he can, you know, he's got a lot of power, really. Quite, you know. And I mean, if you look at the trailer that came before the one that came out yesterday, I mean, that was all about Rey standing in the desert, Jakku presumably being force sensitive, waiting for Kylo Ren in the TIE Defender or whatever, TIE Fighter, coming to attack her and her leaping into the air. You know, I mean, the thing with what's her name, Ray, is she's so. I mean, obviously people complain about the Mary Sue element, that she's just, you know, she's good at everything. There's no failure in her, you know. Whereas Luke, there was always, you know, remember your failure at this and that, you know. Luke always had to struggle to have success, which is really how humanity is, rather than, you know, being good at everything. But I guess that's a lot of the agenda now, with, you know, Kathleen Kennedy wanting to promote Star Wars before a female audience, you know, and saying that the male audience was already there, so she wanted to, you know, the slogan, the force is female. But then now it looks maybe that Rey has turned to the dark side, so now she's going to be a excelling Dark Lord. So, you know, she's going to be great at being wicked, evil. Whereas Darth Vader sort of struggled, you know, especially in Return of the Jedi. You know, he says to Luke, it's too late for me, son. But, you know, so if she turns to the dark side, I mean, who can stop her? I mean, when, you know, she was, first time she fought Kylo Ren, you know, she was without any training, and she, you know, really bleeped him up. So, I mean, and the thing is, these characters, you're really not that invested in them. Maybe it's my age, Generation X, so my heroes are the original trilogy heroes. But saying that, I mean, you could say with Anakin's journey in the prequels, you know, you could get quite invested in that. Maybe less so with episode 1. But certainly, you know, by episode 3, you're well into the character arc, and I mean, that's been expanded on greatly in the Clone Wars animated show. So, you know, I mean, I don't know, this trailer, with all its focus on, you know, the past, what's gone on in the past with episodes, the prequels and the original trilogy, you know, I guess they want to keep a lot of the new movies secret and reveal as little as possible. But then with Rey, that's just probably if she does turn to the Sith. But we're assuming that it's a Sith. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle. You know, it's all relativistic. So she's following her own path rather than, you know. But we'll wait and see. I mean, I don't know. It's if you've been following Star Wars as long as I have, I mean, if you even in the late 70s we were told it could have been, you know, early snippets of information from magazines and stuff like that. Lucas was talking about 9 to 12 episodes, and it looks like now we're just going to get 9. So, you know, I mean, the biggest mistake was George Lucas not making 3 sequels after Jedi, say maybe starting in the late 80s. I mean, you could have done it after Crusade, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and you know, early 90s, Ford, Hamill, Fisher, Billy D. Williams, all of them would have been young enough, or, you know, it would have been pretty cool. So that's a totally missed opportunity. And it didn't matter about the special effects. The special effects in the original trilogy are still brilliant. I'm not talking about the special editions, I'm talking about the original versions. So, you know, George Lucas, and then the prequels were okay. I mean, episode 1 was, that was a major disappointment, but still, you know, I mean, I think that was just Lucas being a father now, you know, just, and I don't know, thinking certain things were funny when they were not. we don't need to say which character, but, and then starting the story at its foci, which was Anakin Skywalker as a 9-year-old, when it should have been at least 20, 21. I mean, you should have started with Revenge of the Sith, and then, you know, and mix some of Attack of the Clones into that, and then just, you know, Rise of Vader. But that's my opinion. But I mean, in the end, it's been a long wait. I mean, I saw Star Wars in February 1978, and now we're going to see episode 9 in December 2019. So that's a long time, and that's a big chunk of my life, from, you know, 8-year-old to almost 50 years old. So, you know, I'm of that first generation of Star Wars fans, and I don't think Star Wars is winning a much younger generation of Star Wars fans. There was obviously those that grew up with the prequels and the animated shows, and, you know, but I mean, the current generation of youngsters aren't so into Star Wars like we were. But that's probably because there's so much stuff now. Because if you think back when we were growing up, there was 3 TV channels, there's no home computers, you know, you had to use your imagination, you had to, you know, now it's just, there's so much stuff, it's just bewildering. And so I'll probably try and watch the trailer again when I get home, hopefully remembering to get the biscuits and the macaroni and whatever else I've got to get. But, you know, I mean, today at least the weather's not so hot, which is good because it's been a bit of a heat wave, and so I'll probably be going back home tomorrow, or Friday at the latest, and then we shall see. But it's been nice to be out of London, definitely. Fed up. And yeah, it's good weather. And it's starting to rain a little bit now, but I mean, I'm so sunburnt at the moment, you know, I don't mind. I'm just enjoying the cool breeze today. And it's meant to be rabbiting on about the trailer, and I'm just, you know, it's like 20 minutes of just waffle, which is what I'm probably quite good at, waffling along. As I walk along that's the army training grounds on that side. So I haven't been to this part of the forest for about 2-3 years, so it's nice to see it. Yep. So this trailer just seems like it's designed to indicate that everything's going to be brought to a conclusion, that questions begun in the original trilogy carried through into well, they wouldn't be carried through, but you know, concepts and themes in the prequels, and then they're going to find resolution in this episode 9, which is quite a daunting task for a single movie. And I mean, how are they gonna bring back Luke Skywalker? Because the film's called The Rise of Skywalker. So unless Rey, I mean, obviously Ben Solo has Skywalker blood, so that could be it. And then obviously, how are they going to bring Mark Hamill back? Is he going to just be a Force ghost, or is he going to be able to materialize himself? Which I guess is, you know, something that you could develop if you have Force powers. But I mean, a lot of fans that's the big issue, I think, with a lot of fans, is that. Plus, you know, you could say the same with Han Solo in episode 7, that they shouldn't have killed him off. But anyway, I think Harrison Ford wanted out anyhow, so. And then Carrie Fisher, unfortunately she passed, and now they're gonna have some sort of CGI character with perhaps some footage they shot from episode 8, but we'll see. But it's not, what is it now, it's end of August, so September, October, November, December, 4 months, and we'll find out. So I've really just gone off on one. I should have watched the trailer a couple of times before I left this morning, but then I could have had it. And I noticed in the Empire Strikes Back bit, they showed a clip of Boba Fett from as we've seen him in Return of the Jedi, but obviously that's something I noticed. But we'll wait and see, I think. I mean, I guess a lot of fans or the Generation X are, you know, saying, oh, I'm not bothered now. Disney have ruined Star Wars for me. I'm not giving them another dollar or pound or whatever. But, you know, obviously you say you're not going to go see it, but obviously you will. So Look at those berries over there on that tree. Cool. Tons of them. Really red. Cool. So I'll probably try and watch some trailer breakdowns when I get home. This is just me babbling on as I walk home. Something to do, I guess. Glad to bore you, but time to end this, I think. Oops, excuse me. I bet you I forget the biscuits and the macaroni dinner as well. Anyway, cheers, goodbye.